that this is so important because even God rests to set an example that we need to rest. And even God make us so perfect. We can function very well, but our body just like a big machine. We need to rest, we need to eat well, and we can do a lot more. And the purpose of resting is to spend time with God, with your family, and a lot of things that we're supposed to do. Now, Garden of Eden. From chapter 2 on, you will see that God make a garden. And in many religions, in Islam, in Jewish teaching, and a lot of things talk about this is heaven on earth because it's perfect in everything. And in the future, we see that we don't need to eat, but why the Garden of Eden have a lot of fruit. You see, eating is part of fellowship. Even in the future, we don't need to eat, but we eat just for fellowship. We can survive without eating, but why we still eat? That's a good question. And the Bible says that in the future, we don't poop, we don't pee, we don't have any bad stuff come out of us. It's perfect already. So a lot of things is a symbol, a lot of things we don't know much. And Eden in Hebrew means fertility. It just means that prosperity, means that the garden of life. Everything in that garden live forever. And today we try to think about, to look at the book of Revelation. In the end, you will see the picture of heaven, of heaven. And that picture, you see that the Garden of Eden come back. The question go on that if heaven is just the Garden of Eden again, well, possibly. Because it's just not a place. It's just something that God planned for us in the future. But without sin, without mistake now. In the past, Garden of Eden have everything perfectly planned. In the future, in the book of Revelation, talk about that garden again, but even don't use the word Eden anymore. But we talk about the place that have the temple of God, the land that fill up with fruit tree and all the happiness. So the Garden of Eden will come back in the future again. It's not finished. Here in the Genesis chapter 3, we say that God closed down that garden for man, put angel to protect it. It doesn't mean that it's gone, but one day we will go back there. When Solomon tried to build a temple and he tried to build a garden around it, he tried to copy the image of Garden of Eden too. Solomon tried once. And today we try to find where Garden of Eden is. We look at everywhere by look at the book of Genesis, the book of Ezekiel, and try to locate where Garden of Eden is. Well, nobody find it because God keep it away from us until one day we will see it. So if you ask a scientist that is that world exists, well, today we talk about different dimension. What that means? It means that our past of human being walk like one straight way, And theory of science said that there are another dimension that parallels our natural world that going on all the time. With just how can we cross from our dimension to another dimension? It's almost like scientific novel or story. But if you compare with the Bible, that possibility, because when we talk about past, future, and present, we always talk about straight line, but in fact, it might be three parallel worlds. The world of the past, the world of the present, and the world of the future all go along in the same time, all the time. It's just we cross over from one world to another world all the time. So according to the Bible, it's possible. We live in one world, but there feel maybe another world that's going on in the same time. Like we talk about the spirit world, we talk about the physical world. It just, you cannot go over that world until one day. But it's just something we to think about, that there are more than one dimension or what happened to human being that we see. We cannot go, but it might exist. Now we talk about good and evil. So what that mean? According to the Bible, everything God make is good or perfect. And anything against the will of God is evil or bad. So the standard is not what you do, it's just you obey God or not. So it's very clear on that point. When Satan did not obey God, they do all the evil thing. And when man disobey God, that's all evil, that's all bad. It's not what they do, it's just what they obey or not obey. So the first woman, as we already say, that God make man out of the ground and put spirit in us. So we are part of God in us. But when God make woman, God take part of man to make woman. So woman come from men, not from the ground. So woman always part of Adam, part of human being. Now human being not perfect without another part, because we are divided into two parts now. So this is try to explain the Hebrew word. Ishan, woman, form from ish. It just means man. And as I say that the word that the Bible used to call Adam mean mankind. It's not mean man itself. But later on in modern day English, we use Adam for man. But in fact, Hebrew doesn't mean man. It's just mankind or human being. And there's some Jewish story that talk about woman and Eve, how she fell, what she do. It's just a story on the Jewish story though, but it's not biblical. But I put down here for share with you where the Jew believe about women. Now I go more about different theory of modern day Christian belief about the creation. Creationism is the words that we use to call that God created everything. This is the general words. Later on, there could be many subgroups among Christianity who believe how God created the universe and the world. But in general, they believe that creation happened by God and everything made by God. And later on, you will see that this group divide into young earth and old earth. What that mean? In general, mean that one group believe that this world just made around 10,000 years ago. Another group believe that this earth have been created long time ago. And this group more in general with scientists, modern day scientists. And this group more with the conservative Christian fundamentalists. By counting the day 24 hours, counting the age of everyone in the Bible and add on to make how old the world is. This is very conservative. But modern earth believe more in scientific way and work well with modern day thinking that Bible and science can go together and we can support each other. And this modern day Christian believe that real science and real Christian looking for the truth, looking for the fact, and we go the same way. We don't fight against each other. Now, I compare the different group of Christianity today about thinking about creationism, about how God made the world. Now, this group we call young earth. It means that this world is less than 10,000 years old. And even the universe is less than 1,000 years old. And God made everything according to 24 hours exactly. But in between the young earth and the old earth, we have a gap that I talk about, gap theory, gap creationism. This group compromise the old one and the new one by adding some scientific fact and scientific knowledge into Christianity. I don't mean everything, but something that support each other, something that we look in common, they add on. This is in the middle. And another more group, they call themselves progressive creationism. And this group add a lot more scientific fact into their teaching. And intelligent design is more science. They place everything in science discovery. They use the word intelligent design. And this group is completely science, mean that anything that against science they don't accept. So they put Christianity teaching according to scientific fact. So now you see that this is the extreme liberal Christian. And you go all the way to the young earth is fundamentalist, super conservative Christian. So the way they believe about creation, it depends on which group you are. And now you need to decide which group you belong to. You are fully liberal and believe everything according to science, or all the way, literally everything verse by verse from the Bible. Or you are somewhere in a little bit. Gap theory is still pretty conservative, but add a little bit of science that we can accept, that not against Bible into the teaching. So this is a little bit of science, reality add on. But when you get more and more, it's more science until they don't accept Bible anymore. Become scientific Christian or Christian science now. This is the group. So it depends on your foundation and how you believe. Which group you are, you need to decide. Because all your teaching will depend on what you believe, on your foundation. You need more time to digest all this teaching. But this is the main guideline, what they believe. Now the gap theory will get more attention because the gap theory developed by Christian, conservative Christian from Dallas Theological Seminary, or the professor who are very conservative, add the gap theory into our teaching, because they believe that from study the Bible, they found out that there is something that we neglect or we don't talk about for a long time, or we overlook it. It shows clearly from Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 to Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. By study it clearly, we found out that there is something in middle, because in verse 1 talk about Bala, creation of nothing. But later on in verse 2, talk about reorganize. So something happened between verse 1 and verse 2. So the gap theory come into the picture. Something happened between these two. So they study more and say that, oh, God did not tell us something happened in between. The creation of angel, the rebellion of the angel, or the fail of this thing happened in the time of this thing. So the gap theory comes in. So I explain more here about the creationism, about the different idea about Christian thinking today, about how God made the world and universe. So here it just means the H day, 6 day, 24 hour or not. This is different group believe in the time frame differently. But you see, the gap theory try to come to be the bridge between the old thinking of 24 hours and millions of years of scientific way, by fill up what we don't know and fill up what we believe or don't believe. So the gap is here that I put you in the picture. In the beginning, God created heaven and the earth. This is beginning here mean that before anything, and created here mean Bala, from nothing. Now, verse 2, the earth what became without form and void. Now the gap here, we see that in verse 2, the world and everything already there. How come from here nothing? Now is something. Something happened here. Verse 2 doesn't mean that God Bala anymore. It's already there. And God come to reorganize from here. The verse from here is not Bala anymore. So the gap theory come to explain a lot of things. So here I explain more what about the gap theory belief and how they form. And from this page on, this is the real science, real theory of science who believe from lab evolution. It started by Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin go to study all the animal in the island. That he spent many years observe all those research and think that, well, life comes from something and develop into another thing. And he come with the theory that, well, maybe everything in this world comes from the same source, one cell. And that cell evolved to be two cells and divide more and to more complicated. From one cell become a fish get tired of water, climb up from the ocean, become a lizard. After a lizard come up to the tree, become a monkey, and the monkey decide to come down from the tree, become man. That his theory go on. But he say that from one cell to be a fish take millions of years. A fish become a lizard, take another million. And from a lizard become a monkey, take another million. From a monkey become a man, another million years. That his theory go on. Now it's just a thinking, no proof. When I say no proof, mean that did you ever see a monkey who start changing to be a man? Because in order for a monkey to be a man, it takes 1 million years. So we need to find the body of something between monkey and man. Million years, you need to find million of body of something that have man, have monkey. But the problem is we never found one. So we call this it missing link, where all those millions of body that developing between monkey and man gone. Who took them? We never found one. A lizard who become monkey, millions of years where their body gone. They need to have millions of body who between lizard and monkey. We never found one. We never found even one body. Supposed to be million of body. Where they gone? So we call missing link. So Charles Darwin theory have a lot of missing link. It's just the thinking that no proof. No proof. And Charles Darwin's theory cannot explain, cannot tell a lot where life comes from. Where did life originate? His theory just say one day it just popped up out of nothing. He just says some chemical just collide and become first cell. And scientists try to copy that for several hundred years, nothing happened. Chemical with chemical. Chemical cannot make life. Life cannot come out of nothing. Right? Life needs to originate from life. Where the evolution, he said that it takes millions of years. So where the evidence? We cannot find even one evidence of that evolution. The body of anything that changing millions of years, where are they? We never found one. So when Charles Darwin make his theory, it's just out of thinking, no proof, no evidence whatsoever. But one thing we found out that yes, our body, any body evolved a little bit. We change our body a little bit to adjust to environment, but not change completely from another species to another species. Modern scientists found out that all species are so different. For example, man can have sex with monkey, but you won't have the children that have monkey have men. It won't happen. Why? Because now we know about our cell, our DNA, it don't match. It won't produce anything. Or you cannot marry a fish with a lizard and have a fish lizard. No, it won't happen. It stopped there. And modern day, you say that you can marry a horse with a donkey and to make a mule. Yes, because horse and donkey very close. They can make a mule out of a horse that marry a donkey. But you know that every mule are infertilized. What that means? They cannot reproduce anymore. It stopped there because their gene stopped. So you see the way God planned for everything is perfectly. You cannot cross them. You say that you can make a tiger and a lion, and you have a liger, a little bit of lion and tiger, but it stopped there. You cannot go on anymore. It stopped there. So it's a limitation that we have seen in science in real life too. So we see that all this theory evolution are just the thinking that no proof, and in fact it's not science at all. But why we accept it? Because we don't have anything to explain how light comes from. So we just accept something that is not even science. And I have more articles to prove that all the record, all the thing that we have known so far. So this is why scientists come with a new theory of intelligent design. They say that light comes from someone who's so smart and planned everything perfectly. They just don't want to call that thing God. They just call intelligent designer. Well, that's the way the science go allow Christianity. So this is all the article. If you have time to go on and read them more, they will tell you more about why we still believe in the Bible and say that the Bible is more proof and more fact than evolution theory that we believe now, that science tried to sell to us. Okay, this is in short. You can have more time to go back and digest the lecture note. And in the lecture note, it's different from the textbook in many ways, because the textbook will just concentrate on the Bible and the way Christians believe. But in the lecture note, I put a lot of science and a lot of theory in for you. So you see more different perspective that even among Christianity, we have all kind of belief too. And how you're going to use science to support what you already believe. Okay, you have more questions concerning this chapter? So in short, we still base all our faith, our belief on the Bible. It's just how we understand the Bible, how we explain the Bible. And the fact is, the Bible is the truth, filing the truth that God wants us to know. And the real science who looking for the truth will go the same way as Christianity. A lot of fake scientists don't find the truth. They're looking for the truth. So they won't find God. Anyone who looking for the truth will find God. Because God is the truth. And you heard that a lot of major scientists today, after many years against Christianity, now became Christian. Because they're looking for the truth until they found God. Okay, about what you need to do about this cross. As I explained before, that you can find other way to do midterm and final by pick up the topic and do the lesson plan. just 4 this year. This semester, you just make 4 for 2 for midterm, 2 for final. And for your special project, you can do either translate the note in another language or do some other special project, research paper of any topic if you want to do that. Or some other special project, you can let me know what you want to do. Okay, you have any question concerning what we learned today? I will send the lecture note on chapter 3, 4, 5 to you sometime this week. So you will have the lecture note in advance. Any one of you reading the textbook so far? In fact, the textbook is a little bit complicated. So do you have any question concerning the lecture or the lesson we learned?
Yeah, Ajahn, about the lecture, we just heard it, and for the DNA, for example, horse and donkey, for about the scientists. So Ajahn mentioned about just for the first generation, there are no more, and then there's all stop. Or,
Yes, stop.
okay,
You
so
cannot go further. You can make a horse and a donkey, and the children you call a mule, and all the mule cannot reproduce anymore. Anytime you want a new mule, you need to use a horse and a donkey every time.
that's all, and then after
That's
that,
all.
after that, horse and horse, but they're not no more milks. There's no more, DNA from the donkey.
The donkey cannot reproduce.
Okay.
I mean, and that's not a donkey, the mule. The mule cannot reproduce. It's infertile.
Okay.
Of there.
So just only one generation. That's
yes,
all.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's not perfectly matched.
Okay.
But why we need a mule? Because it has the body of a horse and the strength of the donkey. So that's why they make it that way. But the problem with the mule is the infertile. It cannot reproduce anymore.
Oh, thank you, John.
Yeah.
I have a question, John.
Yes, Nathan.
When we listen to, we watch TV, the scientists say, yeah, the Earth been here for billion and billion years. And how do they go based on what?
Scientists always bragging about evidence and proof. But you know that a lot of scientific hypotheses or theory still not prove. They just put it out there and believe, and they cannot prove it.
Okay.
How can you prove something in billion of years? It's just guessing.
Okay. Yeah. And second question, what do you think about aliens, Ajahn?
That is very interesting topic. Do you believe that aliens exist?
Well, I think they said or they call Area 51. They said they captured some aliens. So
now we come back to the Bible. Do you believe that our world is the only thing God created in the universe?
Question mark.
Well, for me, I don't think so. We are not the only thing. The world is just one of God's creation. out there in the sky, there are billion of things that God make and we don't know. Our world, the Bible just tells us about our world, our earth, that's all. But out there, a lot of creation that we don't know. But we are limited by time, by age, by technology to go further. So we don't know much. And we cannot say that nothing exists because we don't know. We just have to be open-minded to see that God makes so many things out there. Maybe one day we know more. As much as God allows us to know, to get in touch with a lot of things. Now we open up more that we can make a spaceship that going out to the out there, but still you see that sometimes you see some in the sky like a star bursting, exposing. We say that last night I saw a star bursting in the sky. Scientists say that it's not last night. It's millions of years ago. Wow, why I just see it last night. They say that the light that travel from there to our earth, it takes millions of years. Because they call it many light year. It's far until you cannot count in mind. They count in light year. You know that how far is it? The light can travel 186,000 miles in a second. In a second, 186,000 miles in a second. So in 1 year, how far the light can travel? You multiply that with 60 plus 60 plus 24 plus 365. That come out 1 year the light can travel. 1 light year. So how far is it? We have to die and born 1,000 of times before we get there. For example, if you can make a spaceship and go to Mars, it will take several years. That's why they say in the new generation, spaceship need to have a room. So man and woman can marry, get children, and the children have to live long enough for many generations to go to another star. It's too far for us to get there. In 1 generation, we need 3-4 generations to get to some other star. Even with our technology, the spaceship can travel several thousand miles an hour, still cannot get there. Can we make anything faster than that? Well, it might be possible, but can we survive that kind of trip? No. So we don't know. Since the answer, I have to say we don't know, but possibility. There's something else out there. Yeah, I know you talk a lot about Area 51 in New Mexico. Or the alien, or the movie about alien.
They might call us the alien, Ajahn.
Yeah. Possible. I always believe that we are not the only thing that God created in this universe. Okay, anything else? Okay, if not, we're going to be done